so good to see all of you this morning. If you're with us for the first time, or if you've been spending time with the Garth Brooks concert or the rodeo and you've forgotten where we're at, we're in a series called Game Changers. And so we're looking at these moments that people had with Jesus, encounters they had with Jesus that literally changed their lives. We've talked about taking that first step with Jesus or the next step with Jesus. We talked about forgiveness. We talked about prayer. Last week we looked at baptism. This week we're going to look at an encounter that wasn't necessarily one specific person, but the apostles had with Jesus, and he shared with them through a parable. A parable is what we call one of Jesus' stories. He always took something that was so simple and easy that the people could relate to, and he turned it into a kingdom message. And so we're going to do that this morning in Matthew chapter 25. If you've got a Bible with you, I would encourage you to open there, or if you want to pull your phone out and go to Matthew 25, or if you just want something in your lap and you don't have either one of those, you can find a Bible there in the seats in front of you. We're just going to be here in this one story this morning, this story that Jesus tells in Matthew chapter 25. And it's a story. Let me just start reading. I'm going to start reading in verses 14. So Matthew chapter 25, verse 14, this is called the parable of the talents, or the story of the talents. It says, "For it will be," now that's the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, God's kingdom. Jesus is telling a story about what God's kingdom is like. "For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each according to his ability. Then he went away." So I want you to understand what's happening here. Jesus is saying that the master came, picked 3 of his servants and said, "Listen, I'm going away on a journey. I'm going away on a trip. But I want to give each of you some property." And so to one servant he gave 5 talents, it says. To another servant he gave 2 talents, it says. And to another servant he gave 1 talent. And then he went away. He just left him with that. So I want you to get in your mind what is actually happening here when we get into this story that Jesus is telling. So let's see. I guess we can just keep going here. So it says, then he went away.
Hey, Ryan, I have a question.
Okay.
So I was sitting here talking to Blake, and
that worries me.
Blake and I were talking about how sometimes when you preach and you tell a story, sometimes it's difficult to hear a story and apply it to our lives. Right? Isn't that what you said, Blake?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Okay.
I see. Y'all have ganged up and decided that I'm boring. Is that what y'all decided?
No, not boring, not boring.
If y'all don't know, Blake is my 18-year-old, so I know he thinks I'm boring.
But what we were thinking is that sometimes it's better if when we're talking through a story that we engage with the story and we interact with the story, and maybe it helps us take a better lesson away from the story.
So what are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we do that today. And I think that the people here would love to do that as well. You should ask them.
Let me think about that for a minute.
No, ask them.
Should we give Michael the opportunity to do that this morning? Yeah. Y'all don't count. You set me up.
No, those
You
are
put
the
all the
youth.
students down here on the front row.
I've just trained them really well.
I'm going to give you this much leeway.
Yes. Okay, hey, good idea, Blake. Thanks, man.
Wait,
okay,
this was
so
Blake's idea?
No, it was my idea. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we could interact with the story and kind of engage with it, and then I could play a character in the story. Let's see.
I already see where this is going. I understand. You're saying that you want to be the master. That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Duh.
And if we interpret the story, the master was God. So you're saying you want to play God this morning.
Well, yeah.
Let's take another vote. Do you really think we should do that this morning?
Now, I will say
But
that,
they're used to you playing God all the time.
That's true, and they like it. So here's the thing. I would also argue that I am supremely qualified to play God.
Oh my gosh. Seriously?
Because my name is Michael Christian, and your name is Ryan Smallwood.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say to that. All right, listen, your leeway is closing, so you better get on with it.
Okay, so I get to be the master.
Okay, you get to be the master.
Okay, so I was kind of distracted, so y'all help me if I get the story wrong, but the master is about to go on a journey, and when he goes on the journey, he entrusts three servants.
Three servants.
With money?
Property.
Property, okay, so he entrusts them with his property. So I should do that. If I'm the master, I should do that.
This is your rodeo.
Okay, no, the rodeo is downtown, that's not here. So then if I'm the master, then all of these people should be the servants, right?
With where you're going with this.
Okay, I like where this is going. Okay, so these are all
Thank you for not saying your servants.
These are all of my servants. I'm glad you put that in my brain. These are my servants, so I need to pick 3 to entrust my stuff to.
If you follow the story.
If I follow the story, okay. This is going to get dangerous, right?
So you're going to go pick 3.
I'm going to go pick 3.
Listen to me, folks. If you're an introvert, you should get up and go to the bathroom right now, okay?
So I get to go pick any 3 that I want.
Like I said, this is
You're letting me do whatever I want.
I'll close it down as soon as I feel like I need to.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick me 3 completely random people. Hopefully somebody that don't. Here, let's go right here. Sir, would you stand up? Sure. I want you to hold this microphone right there.
Dude, you should have gone to the bathroom.
So I don't know you, right?
Right.
Okay, so would you introduce yourself to all of your fellow servants? What is your name?
My name's Kyle.
Kyle, awesome. Very strong, manly name, Kyle. That's why he's my servant, right? Kyle, where are you from?
Houston.
Houston. Wow. What are you doing here in the big city?
Just working. I
Just working.
Graduated from Texas Tech.
Yeah, wreck 'em, right? Yeah. Just graduating, working from Houston. What's your social security number? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So you're going to be one of my servants for the story. You okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to entrust you with some property. That's yours, okay?
Thank you.
You can do whatever you want with it. I don't want it back. Nobody here wants it. That's yours to do whatever you want with it. The only thing I ask is don't open it yet.
Okay.
Okay, y'all give it up for Kyle. Let's see. Let's pick somebody else who's trying not to make eye contact with me right now. Let's go over here. Let's do it, Jimmy Fallon style. I'll go through. All right, sir, what is your name?
Dustin.
Dustin. Also big, manly name, manly beard. Wow. Y'all give it up for his beard, right? I'm not going to ask you how old you are because the gray in your beard kind of gave that away. So, Dustin, where are you from?
From Sundown.
Sundown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Roughnecks. Go Roughnecks.
Roughnecks.
Yeah? Sundown Roughnecks.
Any other Roughnecks? Okay, moving on. So what do you do for a living?
I'm an IT director.
IT director. Hey, we may need to keep
get
him
his
around.
name. We need him.
He's good. Who are you here with today?
With my lovely wife, Lacey.
Oh, lovely wife, Lacey. That's bonus points right there. Nicely done.
That's what you do when you're in trouble.
Exactly. Wait, are you in trouble right now?
No.
Okay, good. Good. So
You're
lovely
about to be,
Lacey.
so let's move on with this.
Lovely Lacey. Okay, so Dustin, I would like for you to be one of my servants today.
Okay.
And I'd like for you to participate. And so if you can handle that, I would like to entrust you with this right here.
Okay.
That's yours to do whatever you want with. The only thing I ask is don't open it yet.
Okay.
Sound good?
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you. Y'all give it up for Dustin. All right. So Ryan, if I got the story right, I got one more, right? I got one more. So I feel like I should pick on my people. Right?
They're the ones who got us into this
They
mess.
got us into this mess. So I'm going to ask you, young lady right here, that I don't know your name, so that you can introduce yourself to all these people. So here, that's your mic.
Hi.
I want you to introduce yourself to all the other servants that are here.
Hi, servants. I'm Holland.
Servant. I feel like we're at an AA.
We're not in AA. I mean,
Hi, I'm Holland. Hi, Holland. Okay, so Holland, tell us where you from.
Midland, Texas.
Wow, Midland. Anybody else Midland? Wow. Okay. Hey, there we go. We got one
There we
back there.
go.
That's your people. So Holland, where your person? Yeah. Holland, where do you go to school?
Friendship High.
Friendship High. Go Tigers. Sick 'em tight? No, not
No,
that.
that's
Sorry.
that's failure.
Okay. So, Holland, I would like for you to participate and be one of my servants today. You okay with that?
Awesome.
That means you have to do whatever I ask you to. I'm the master, you're the servant.
Okay.
Okay.
That means he trusts you the least because he picked you last.
That's not true. That's not true. This is yours right here, okay? I want you to keep that. That's yours. Do whatever you want with it. The only thing I ask is don't open it yet.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Y'all give it up for Holland. Okay.
Okay, so you're the master. You
I'm the
picked
master.
3 servants.
Pick 3 servants.
And then guess what the master did?
I don't know.
He went away.
Oh. Okay. I get what you're saying. I'm going to go away. But I think if I remember the story correctly, the master gets to come back.
We may get to that point.
Okay.
All right. So,
Sweet.
yeah, so the master goes away after he entrusts these talents. But listen, I want you to have a good understanding of what they're holding in their hands. I don't necessarily mean what's in the envelope. I want you to have an understanding of what the talent is. Because in our culture, we define talent totally different than how Jesus defined it here, okay? So we look at the word talent and we say it means, a special gifting or a special ability or a special skill that I have. Are you with me? We have shows like America's Got, right? And so we think that these people come on the show and they have these special skills. Have you watched America's Got Talent? Some of them are very special. But they have these special skills or these talents, and that's how we look at talents. But there was no Jerusalem's Got Talent, all right? That's not how Jesus was framing this in this story. In fact, the word talent in the story literally means wait. Not W-A-I-T, like we're waiting for Michael to come back, but W-E-I-G-H-T, like an amount of measurement, okay? And so the master says, listen, I'm giving you this weight and you this weight and you this weight. So you have this amount, you have this amount, you have this amount. Here in the English Standard Version, which is what I'm reading out of, it doesn't even tell us what the substance was. So there's no way we can figure out the value unless we even know what it was, right? I mean, it could be silver, it could be gold, it could be copper. Now, in some other translations, they translate it silver, but English Standard Version doesn't do that. The point I'm trying to get across here is this. It's not the value, it's the weight. It's not the ability, it's the responsibility. Okay, I want you to say that with me. Say ability, say responsibility. You see, here's what God does. He gives us all abilities. I don't mean just natural skills, natural gifts. I mean, he gives us time. He gives us resources. And yes, he does give us skills and abilities. But it's not about the skill. It's not about the ability. It's not about the time. It's not about the treasure. It's about what we do with the ability and the time and the treasure. It's not about our ability. It's about our responsibility. See, look, if you notice there, he says that he handed 1 5, another 2, to another 1. Watch. To each according to his what? That's how the talents were given. It wasn't abilities that were given out here. It was opportunity that was given out here. And the point of the story is, will we be responsible with the opportunities that are given to us? Are you following me? Nod your head if you're following me. Okay, good. All right, so let's keep going. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them. And he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. You still following the story? So the one that had 5 talents went and invested the 5 talents and multiplied the 5 talents. The one who had 2 talents went and invested the 2 talents, doubled the talents, and came back with 4. Okay, you're going to see that here in a minute in the story. And then the one who had 1 talent went and buried the talent. You still with me? Still following? All right, so we can keep going in the story, all right, and we can see what happens. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. I'm scared to even read that part because, yes, the master does come back.
Woo, I'm back.
And in this crazy charade this morning, if Mr. Christian is playing the master, he's back.
I'm back. Did you miss me?
Yes, Michael, we missed you.
See, they missed me.
Why are you back?
Okay, I'm back because I think that one of our flaws in our system is that our servants that are out there don't know what they were entrusted with.
Okay.
So we should reveal that.
Okay.
Okay, so my 3 servants that I'm entrusted with, would y'all stand up real quick? Stand up. So Holland, we'll start with you. Holland, would you please open your envelope?
Envelope number 1.
Behind door number 1.
Or no deal.
Wow. Is that real?
I mean, I think so.
Genuine U.S. currency?
I would believe so.
Okay, that's your $5 bill. Do whatever you want with it. Okay? Sweet. All right. Kyle, we'll come over. No, we'll do Dustin next. Dustin, we'll do yours. What do you have in that lovely envelope? $20 bill. Wow. Okay. See, I know who I can trust around here now. Okay, so I'm gonna sneak through here again. So we got 5, we got 20. Kyle, let's see what's in your envelope. $100 bill. Okay, so that's your 100. I gave it to you. That's yours. Do whatever you want with it.
Kyle,
So-
you just graduated from Texas Tech? You need that, don't you?
Okay, so Ryan, I've got my 3 servants.
Okay, so I think I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
5, 20, and 100. So what you're saying is 1 talent, 2 talent, 5 talent.
Exactly.
So just like the master did in the story, they were given different weights. Now remember, it's not the value. See, we're just so tempted to go to the value, I think. But it's not about the value, it's about the responsibility that you have with that value. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay. Are you done?
I don't know. You need to keep reading the story, or?
Sure, I'll keep reading the story. So, listen. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants came and settled accounts with them. And he who had received the 5 talents, so this is Kyle.
That's Kyle.
He who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more.
Sure, why not?
If he ends up with this money, I'm going to be really upset with this. All right, so his master, let's see, where am I at? The one with the 2 came, his master said to him, so his master said to Kyle, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward.
Hold on. Does that mean that Kyle gets to come party at my house now?
I guess.
Sweet. You're in, buddy. You're in.
I hope you're an extrovert. All right, so, and also to who had the 2 talents came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. And his master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master.
So that means Dustin also gets to party at my house.
Yeah, but you know what? One thing I want us to notice here is that for Kyle and for Dustin, Kyle doubled it, Dustin doubled it. It wasn't the same value, but notice the master said the same exact thing to both of them. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He said the same thing to both of them. So it's not about the value, it's about the responsibility. Right?
Yeah.
Well, we still have one.
We got one left.
I think it's in the story. He also, who had received the 1 talent, came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here, have what is yours. But his master answered him, oh, Holland, this is not good for you. But his master answered him, you wicked and slothful servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have scattered no seed. Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents.
That's yours.
Watch, here's the most important part. You listening? For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who is not, even what he has will be taken away. You see, it's not about the value, it's not about the ability, it's about the responsibility. And what the story is trying to say to us is, listen, God has given us all responsibility with different opportunities, and we are either investing in those opportunities or we are burying those opportunities. What is it? Investing or burying? We're doing one of the two. And Jesus says, listen, if you're investing, if you're taking advantage of those opportunities, then what you have, you will be given more. But if you're being irresponsible, if you're not investing those opportunities, then even what you have will be taken away from you. I mean, I'm one who looks at the story and goes, man, that's kind of harsh, right? I mean, the guy who went and buried the talent, or the young lady who went and buried the talent, I mean, at least she didn't squander it, right? At least she didn't blow it. At least she still had it to give back. But the master says, no. You were irresponsible with the opportunity, with the talent, with the time, with the resources that I gave to you. And because of that, you will see no more opportunities. I'm going to illustrate it this way, a couple of different stories. It's not about the ability. It's about the responsibility. So over spring break, my family, we spent the week in Villanueva, Guatemala at the New Life Children's Home. A New Life Children's Home is the longest running mission support of Aldersgate Church. Aldersgate will turn 32 years old in August, and we have supported New Life Children's Home for 32 years because that's our philosophy. We don't do hit-and-run missions. We invest in people who are there for the long term, for the long haul, and who have a presence there. And New Life Children's Home has been present in Villanueva, Guatemala for even longer than 32 years. So my family and I, we got to invest some time there this past spring break. I've got some pictures of the boys with some of the kids there at New Life Children's Home that you can see. But I want you to know something. When we were there, here's what we did. We painted an apartment. We spent 3 days painting an apartment. You can see pictures of the boys painting the apartment. Amy and I were there too, and we also painted, but we also had to referee the boys between fights. But we also trimmed trees. We took the measurements of the kid, like their height and weight. We did that for all the kids who are living at the children's home. And we did a whole bunch of different things while we were there that week. But here's what I want you to know I didn't do. Not one time while I was at New Life Children's Home did I preach. No one ever asked me to give a sermon. Not one time did I teach. No one ever asked me to teach a class or a group. Not one time did I try to lead the organization or use my administrative gifts and abilities to do that. Not one time did I give any organizational wisdom to New Life Children's Home. See, here's what I want you to understand. It's not about the ability, it's about the responsibility. God's given us time, He's given us talent, He's given us treasure. And the week we were there, I used my time. It wasn't necessarily the abilities that God's given me. Trust me, I have no ability to paint. I was responsible, I hope, with my time. The apartment that we painted, it was for a young lady who teaches there at the school. She teaches deaf education. She teaches the deaf students at the school. She's got about 8 of them. She knows English, she knows Spanish, she knows American Sign Language, and she knows Spanish Sign Language, because there's a difference. She told us while we were there that the deaf in Guatemala are the only people group who haven't been reached with the gospel of Jesus Christ, because there aren't enough interpreters who know Spanish Sign Language to share the gospel with them. She shares it with her students on a daily basis, and she's had a few of those kids accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. She had rotator cuff surgery a couple of months ago. She couldn't paint her own apartment. I'm not a skilled painter, but I was trying to be responsible with the opportunity that God put before me. Let me give you another illustration. Are you familiar with Tom's Shoes? Anybody owns a pair of Tom's shoes? Raise your hand. Anybody wearing a pair of Tom's shoes today? Anybody? Right there? See? Awesome. Let me tell you the story behind Tom's shoes if you don't know it. Tom's Shoes was founded by a guy named Blake Makowski. In 2006, Blake visited Argentina. He was on vacation. This is the second time he had been to Argentina because in 2002, he and his sister were part of the reality TV show Amazing Race. And they stopped in Argentina for a brief period of time during that reality TV show. And 4 years later, he wanted to go back to Argentina to get to know the people, the culture, engage with them. And while he was there, he noticed that everyone in Argentina wore the same type of shoe. But there were those people who had shoes and those people who didn't, because there were those who could afford those shoes and those who couldn't. And he also noticed and heard stories of those who couldn't afford the shoes, how they would get blisters on their feet or open sores, and then they would get an infection, and they would either lose their foot or their leg, or sometimes they would lose their life if the infection became systemic. And God put an opportunity in front of Blake. And Blake said, I've got to do something about this. Now, initially, he thought, you know what? I could just do what other organizations have done. I could start my own nonprofit, and I could go back to the States, and I could visit with organizations and churches, and I could just get them to donate shoes, and then we could hand them out in Argentina. But he knew the opportunity that God was giving him was more than that. And God placed this idea of tomorrow's shoes in his mind. That's what TOMS stands for, tomorrow's shoes. And the concept was, listen, buy a pair of shoes today, donate a pair of shoes tomorrow. And Blake said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to just set up a bucket and people can come and donate their shoes and then I'm going to give them out. I'm going to take these Argentinian shoes, I'm going to beef them up just a little bit where American consumers would actually purchase them and wear them. And then for every pair I sell, I'm going to give away a pair in Argentina. He went and looked for a shoemaker in Argentina with his idea that would agree with him, and they began to make this beefed up version of the Argentinian shoes that we now know as TOMS there in Argentina. Blake carried as many of them back to the States as he could in his duffel bag. He began to visit with stores and entrepreneurs and people who would market them for him. They began to latch on. He didn't even have a warehouse at first. He was making these shoes out of his apartment. The first 3 months, out of his apartment, he made and sold 100,000 pairs of Tom's shoes, which meant 100,000 pairs went to those around the world who couldn't afford to put shoes on their feet. You see, it wasn't about $5 or $20 or $100. It was about a responsibility. It was about an opportunity that God had given to Blake. And Blake decided that I'm going to go and I'm going to invest. I'm not going to bury. See, because we can do one or the other. We can invest or we can bury. If you read Matthew chapter 25, which I would encourage you to do this week, actually I would encourage you to back up to Matthew 24, read Matthew 25, read Matthew 26. Listen, we're getting to the end of Jesus' life here. This is the end of the Gospel of Matthew. And Jesus is beginning to tell stories. In fact, this is one of 3 that he tells here in a row about how he's about to die on the cross. But then how he'll be raised from the dead. He'll ascend to heaven, but one day he'll return to earth. What did the master do in the story? He went on a journey and he entrusted those that were left behind with his property. You see, we know Jesus left this earth, his time here on this earth, his mission was complete. He died on the cross, he rose from the tomb. We're going to celebrate that in 2 weeks with Easter Sunday. He went up into heaven, but we as Christians believe that he's coming again. And in the meantime, he's entrusted us with his property. He's entrusted us with opportunities. He's entrusted us with time and talent and treasure. And the question is, are we investing that time, talent, and treasure? Or are we burying it? And the story, he says, those that are investing will be given even more opportunities. Those that are burying will have even what they buried taken away from them. Those who are responsible will be given more. those who are irresponsible will have even what they have taken away from them. Rick Warren, pastor of Saddleback Church in Southern California, says that when Jesus does come back, when God sets up his kingdom here again, the new kingdom, the kingdom of God that Matthew chapter 25 talks about, Rick says that God's going to ask each of us two questions. Number one, what did you do with my son, Jesus Christ? And number two, what did you do with every opportunity I gave you? Did you invest it? Or did you bury it? So this morning, we don't want just the 3 servants that Michael picked out to have the opportunity to invest what's been given to them. We want all of you to have this opportunity. And so we have some people this morning that are going to begin to pass out a basket to your row. We're going to do something that hardly ever happens in church, but we're going to do a reverse offering. So we're going to give you money, either $5, $20, or $100. So when the basket comes to you, they're going to go ahead and start passing. When the basket comes to you, there'll be envelopes in the basket. Listen carefully. Just take one envelope. And when you get that envelope, we want you to go ahead and open it and see what's in there. I'm telling you right now, it's either 5, a 20, or 100. And we want you to use this as a very practical way to think about how you're investing your time, your talent, and your treasure in the kingdom. Remember, it's not just about the value. It's not just about money. But we've all been given different talents, and how are we investing them? And so we want you to take over the next couple of days, weeks, maybe even a month. And we want you to think and pray through what God would have you do with what's just been placed in your hands. How can you invest what God has given to you? Not how can you bury it, but how can you invest it? Listen, there are a couple of things you can do to bury it. We do not want to bury it in Lubbock Power and Light, okay? Don't use this to pay your utility bill. Don't use this to pay your tuition. We want you to use this in a way that advances the kingdom of God. I had somebody come up to me after the 10:15, and they were quite upset with us because we would not let them just turn around and give the money to the children's ministry here at Aldersgate. Listen, I believe great things happen through the children's ministry here at Aldersgate, but the point of the story is take and invest it and then bring it back to the children's ministry at Aldersgate. Right? Maybe if you got a $5 bill in your envelope, you want to call a friend up this week and you want to say, hey, can I take you to Starbucks? You're going to pay for theirs and then you're going to have to pay for yours. Sorry. But you're going to pay for theirs and you're going to have a conversation about Jesus, about something they're going through in their life. You're going to take the opportunity to invite them to Easter Sunday service with you. If you got 20 or 100, maybe you want to go invest in some resources and then you want to take those resources and multiply them. So maybe you want to buy some ingredients and then make something and sell it to double or triple or whatever. The point is this, we could go on and on and on. The point is this, we want to give you some space in the next few minutes, the rest of today, the next few days, to pray through how God would have you invest what you've been given. And we want to know your stories. We want to know what's happening and what God has told you. And so we want you to share those with you. The easiest way to do it is to use a hashtag, and it's the hashtag Grateful People Give. One of our undervalues here at Aldersgate is Grateful People Give Generously. And so we want you to connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and use the hashtag Grateful People Give and share your story with us to let us know what it is you're doing to invest your treasure, not bury it. Listen, maybe it's even more than the 5, the 20, or the 100 that you just opened. But maybe God's given you opportunities that have nothing to do with what's in your envelope. And you want to share with us how you're investing. Tell us your story. Use the hashtag Grateful People Give. We're either investing or we're burying. Which is it?